Thank you for listening to the New Music Alliance Radio Hour. I'm joined today by Mark Sherry, and I am Mark Ramone. You just heard The Elevators, Girlfriend's Girlfriend. Before that, Thus Love, Inamorado. And we started off with Sage King doing Blind Faith. Sage King is out of Enfield, Connecticut, or born there.
Yeah, and I think he's based now in Windsor, Connecticut. And he's got that sort of rock, but with a little country influence in it. And he plays so many shows. You know, if you are out there looking for something to do, I can guarantee you at some point you'll see his name or one of his band's names. He plays with a band called Hivebane, as well as under his own name as well, Sage King, as a band, as a duo, as a solo artist, I think, as well.
That's what you got to do to survive in this business. You got to just get out there and play.
Oh yeah, and obviously build a fan base, and he's building that fan base. Apparently, he's in his mid-20s, and he's already played over 1,000 shows.
Wow.
And his music is really good. It's catchy. It's he's certainly going to be someone we're going to hear a lot from in the future. And
he's in a contest right now to be one of the opening acts at a Hollywood Bowl show. In the past, these shows have included Coldplay, Black Eyed Peas, Doja Cat, Shawn Mendes. So he has a chance to open up for a very major act.
He was actually just, I guess, a couple of months ago, flown out to St. Paul, Minnesota to share the stage at this huge event called Fan Jam. Yeah, he's on the rise.
It's kind of for me, it was like sort of a Bon Jovi feel to it, combined with the Jayhawks.
Yeah. So after that, we had Thus Love doing their first single called Inamorado. And they're from Brattleboro, Vermont. And they call themselves a post-punk trio. To me, this is so, reminiscent of sort of the 80s sound of bands like The Cure.
Some of the guitar work in it. Yeah, I could hear that. I thought kind of the vocals were more like Peter Murphy with a feel of Psychedelic Furs and Oingo Boingo in that era, 80s.
Yeah, it's such a well-produced tune. And the band has got like a really full sound. This tune, by the way, has a apparently really interesting music video and by the way, the lead vocalist of the band, Echo Mars, I interviewed actually in Rolling Stone about this particular tune. And he was saying that this was their response to the first 3 months of the COVID pandemic. And he said it was our attempt to process the uncertainty. And he said we were afraid of losing touch with our creative motivation. And this song sort of reminds themselves to keep exploring how we feel. So
yeah, I was impressed to see that she was in Rolling Stone. That's a big, major step in anybody's career.
Yeah, and they're all from like really small towns around the Brattleboro, Vermont area, and they all came together to now be based in the big town of Brattleboro. These guys definitely are also another band on the rise for sure. Look out for more stuff from Thus Love. And going back in time, back to 1980, we heard The Elevators from Northampton, Massachusetts, doing Girlfriend's Girlfriend.
That's some vintage vinyl for you right there.
They were a new wave pop group, and they were from the very beginning compared with the Cars. And I think, you can easily hear that. And I think they sort of were a little edgier than the Cars. They had that same, sound. They were incredibly talented. And, sometimes a band is pushed more and they wind up making it and another one doesn't. I think these guys could have made it just as easily as big as the Cars did, but that's not the way things worked out. They put out an album called Frontline, which has a lot of great tunes. And so if you can ever catch some of those, which are not easy to find, there are a few of them on YouTube, some really excellent tunes on that album.
Kind of reminds me of the song, at least reminds me of the Killers. Somebody told me much earlier. The theme, it's a similar theme.
Yeah, there. So many of their songs are like just have really high energy rockers. They were signed by big time producer Clive Davis to Arista, which was a major label back in 1979, and it just unfortunately didn't happen for them. So our last block, we've got 2 more tunes by bands that are going to be part of the Valley Music Showcase. That's coming up again on July 31st. And we're going to start with Spark by Hue Blind.